Hi, my name's Sheehan, and today I'd like to talk about Doctor Who, the Space Museum. This story stars William Hartnell as the Doctor and is from season 2 of the classic series. What's this story about? Well, the Doctor, Ian, Barbara and Vicky are just on their way from the Holy Land at the end of the Crusade, dressed in their old-fashioned medieval clothes, and then all of a sudden they're in their normal clothes. And they can't really explain why. Things seem slightly odd. Then Vicky goes to get some water, she drops it, the glass smashes, but then it comes back up into her hand again. Clearly something's not right with time itself here. Something weird has happened. Then they land on this planet called Zeros, and they're walking around. They find this space museum full of these weird and wonderful exhibits from other worlds. But the inhabitants of the planet can't see them, and none of the protagonists are leaving footprints on the soil as they walk. So something clearly is gone a bit wrong somewhere along the line. What really creeps them out is that they see themselves as exhibits in the space museum, kind of frozen solid in this glass case. And they realise that they must do something to alter their destiny, otherwise they're going to end up stuck as museum exhibits for all eternity. And then in episode 2, we come to realise that these people who run this space museum are called the Morlocks, and they have this civilization, this empire, and they don't seem to be particularly nice people, nice aliens. They've got these receding hairstyles with quiffs, and the Doctor's captured by the Morlock commander and he's interrogated, and the rest of the crew, Vicky, Barbara and Ian, get lost in this space museum. And as well as the Morlocks, we find these youths, these young men, teenagers I guess, and they're the original inhabitants of Zeros, the Zerons. And they're these weird guys with these odd fake eyebrows stuck up here. They're probably the worst looking aliens you've ever seen in a Doctor Who show, and that's saying something. Anyway, Vicky falls in with these guys and they want to take their planet back for themselves and kick the Morlocks out and start a revolution, and Vicky gets guns for them. Finally, the revolution is successful in the last episode. The Morlocks are overthrown, the Space Museum is dismantled, and everything can return to how it should be. Indeed, the Doctor realises that the whole problem with this time issue is some small piece of machinery in the TARDIS. And everything's sorted out. A bit like a light bulb when it doesn't light up straight away. That's how he likens this thing failing to work properly and causing this time problem. The Space Museum is a rather interesting story. It's Doctor Who kind of having a proper, intelligent science fiction storyline, I guess, about time, playing tricks and delving into some classic conundrums which science fiction authors have considered for time immemorial. This idea that the characters are out of step in a different dimension to the world around them. And it's an interesting premise, and the first episode in particular I think is very strong, particularly the end of the first episode. We hear this music and see flashbacks to these stills from the crew earlier on in the story, and in quite a dramatic and slightly unsettling way you realise the predicament the crew of the TARDIS are up against. It's a very effective end to the first episode. Then things become a bit more standard, I guess, and you know, this revolution thing that happens. We see that in several other Doctor Who stories. The oppressed throwing over the oppressor. The notion of a space museum is quite interesting as well. And there's this hilarious bit, of course, where William Hartnell, the Doctor's hiding in a Dalek, which is one of the exhibits. It seems that they want to get the Daleks in whichever way they can in this season to build on their success from season 1. Yeah, so the Space Museum, I mean, the aliens are pretty nondescript. The Morlocks looks a bit ridiculous with these big hairstyles, and the Zerons, these boys going around with these kind of big stuck-on eyebrows. I mean, they're the most pathetic looking aliens you'd see anywhere. But Vicky plays quite a role in this. She kind of galvanises the Zerons and runs around getting the guns for them. So I think it's the first story really since the rescue where Vicky has some proper input into the plot and makes things happen. So yeah, the Space Museum is an interesting story, worth watching. Perhaps a bit uneven in quality. I think it tails off a bit towards the end. But it's a good solid instalment in the second season. I've included a brief slideshow as well of some of the themes as well as the structure of the story. Thanks for watching. Bye.